Hello, welcome back to Ben's Record Collection. Today I'm going to talk about an album by the band America, Holiday. Great album. And so, sad to admit, I've only listened to this a handful of times ever. Not particularly special album art, but I like it enough. Even better back album art. Looks like a photograph. The back of a photograph frame. Yeah, great album. A lot of catchy pop songs. 70s pop rock stuff. I would recommend it. I found that, if I remember correctly, at Deep in the Valley in 2010. It's a record store in Golden Valley. They had a guy there, middle-aged guy maybe, who was telling me he kind of specialized. He was the one that curated or took care of all the vinyl records in the store, which was probably less than half of the store at the time. It was in 2010. I suppose vinyl was picking up, but I don't think it was nearly as big as it got a little later. Anyway, that day I bought, I don't know, a handful, several maybe records. Mostly 70s stuff, or all 70s stuff actually. It was only a few dollars a piece. Probably $3 a piece, something like that. Back when you could find records at that price for easier, that weren't in terrible condition. I mean, this is definitely worn condition. I prefer to have albums, of course I prefer to have albums that are playable, but I don't care if they're in excellent condition or anything like that. It's a nice one now, but I'm not picky about that. The jacket and everything is pretty worn. It says 50 cents here. No, I probably paid between $3 and $7. Probably between $3 and $7 for all the records I bought that day. That was the only time so far that I've ever been to Down in the Valley, which was a nice enough store. I'm meaning to go back, but there's a lot of record stores out there. In my hometown, for a while, we didn't even have a record store. But one opened not that long ago. I don't remember the name, and it's pretty much in my neighborhood. I've been once, but I will go back. Yeah, like I said, Holiday by America. It has a lot of catchy songs. Baby, It's Up to You, which I'm listening to right now. It's a good one. It's the only proper America LP that I've ever heard, probably. I originally came by this band because of my mom, who liked a couple of their songs. Around like 2001, she bought me a CD, like Complete Greatest Hits, something like that, which I think I still have. Maybe I'll talk more about that another time. And yeah, I liked it. It was like, all their singles. I liked probably most of the songs. It was solid stuff. Never went beyond that until I got Holiday. And I'll talk a little about America, the band. What a name, right? Calling your band America. That's bold. Kind of stupid. On a three-piece, three guys strumming acoustic guitars and singing together. They were all songwriters. they probably all sang lead on each of their individual songs. In like maybe the 80s or something. I don't know the whole history, I'm going by memory. What little I do know. In the 70s, or, well, no, probably in the 80s, I think. Maybe even later. Dan Peek left the band, got sober, and had like a Christian contemporary music career, I think. And I believe he has since passed away from cancer. Rest in peace, Dan Peek. And America continued on into the 80s and probably beyond, maybe even the present day, I don't know. They continued as a two-piece band. And had some cheesy 80s stuff. I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, buy Holiday. Good album. Buy it if you can get it for $5, like I did. Considering when I bought it, I did not have a lot of vinyl records. In fact, that could have been the start of my collection almost. Back in like 2010. And since then I've been buying records, off and on across the years. But again, I'll mention, not a big time collector. Oh, and I'll go back to commenting on what I said about the quality, the physical quality of the records I buy. This is obviously a used record. The last one I talked about, Deceptive Bends, was also used. The majority of my records are used records. I like it that way, especially the old ones. It feels like they kind of have a history from when they're from way back. I'm not one of those hardcore collectors. I'm not like, I need this barcode. Not a completist. I don't need every album by a certain artist. Although I have been tempted, if there are some musicians I really like and I would like to own all their stuff, but I also want to be practical. I'm not rich, and I don't want to amass a whole lot of physical records. It's just a pain in the ass to move, and it just takes up space. I'd like to think I'm not super materialistic. But I do like buying records. I'm not really a snob about vinyl though. I love vinyl records, but I like other formats too. I like listening any way I can. I stream music, I like downloading music too. I have that. Even CDs, whatever format. When I was younger, it was the era of CDs, and I collected quite a few. Sadly, I've lost or thrown out a lot of CDs. Some were stolen, which I kind of regret now, not keeping those in my possession. Even though a lot of it is stuff that I'm not that into anymore, because it was many years ago and I did different stuff when I was a kid. And then I went through a 20-year, I'm probably exaggerating, 20-year phase of, I don't like CDs. CDs are a cheap, crappy format. They get scratched. I got into vinyl. One thing about vinyl that I like is I can kind of appreciate the album art, the visual art aspect of it. And obviously very different size from CDs. With CDs it's much smaller. So that's one of the things I like about vinyl. But I mean, it does sound a bit different from digital music, like CDs or downloads. But I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily say I think that vinyl is the best way to listen to music or the best sounding. Kind of. Not really, nah. yeah, at some point I might even go over CDs that I've bought. And I mean, definitely have at least a few CDs that are really old that I got a long time ago, when I was a kid even. I really got into music around the age of maybe 11. Became really obsessed at that time and never looked back. Just love recorded music. And maybe you do too. Probably if you made it this far in the video somehow. Yeah. I've only recently took to not collecting, but liking the CDs again. I appreciate CDs now, even though I didn't for a very long time. Kind of come back around. It's a decent format. You know, they sound, to me, as good as vinyl. You might disagree. Comment on that. Streaming music, on the other hand, which is how most people right now tend to consume music. Talk a little about streaming music. It's the quality really varies. I'm by no means an audiophile, and for the most part, it's kind of good enough for me as far as the quality goes. I do prefer better quality. I think with streaming, you don't know what you're gonna get. You know, it's something like, well, any of the main ways people tend to stream music. Some of it's really low quality, kind of varies in bit rate. It's hard to tell, but rather listen to better sound quality, given the option. But streaming is just so convenient, and so I like it. So you have access to so much, too much maybe. Maybe we'd be better off without streaming music, but probably not. I don't really feel one way about that. Streaming music is okay. Buying records is fun. In fact, I just bought some records. I bought a few records, which I may talk about down the road. And I haven't even listened to them yet. I just bought them. I was out of town in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and there was a place, I'll shout out, I believe it was called Revival Records. Pretty good selection, cool store. Prices were kind of high, but it probably are everywhere now. Still kind of getting used to how bad inflation has gotten in the past few years. And that's how you know you're getting old, when you start bitching about prices. Costs of everything. With that, I think I'll wrap up. Thanks for watching. Maybe I'll make more of these videos where I ramble about music